The night hums softly through the open window. Lila's voice floats through the static, low and luminous. A sound made for quiet rooms and sleepless listeners. Sometimes, she murmurs, we talk so the silence won't notice us. The screen glows in the darkness. Her small apartment becomes an altar of curated stillness. Candles, fairy lights, a cup of untouched tea. Thousands watch her from the invisible void, drawn not by spectacle but by the feeling that she might be speaking directly to them. Her words, though gentle, tremble at the edge of confession. She glances once, almost imperceptibly, toward the dim hallway behind her, and the faintest shadow seems to move. She smiles again, softer this time, as if nothing has changed, though something unseen has already stepped into frame. Her words wind gently through the stream, a meditation on the beauty of loneliness. When we're alone, she says, we learn the sound of our own gravity. But her voice hesitates for a heartbeat, something outside the script of comfort. She tries to focus, to maintain rhythm, yet her eyes flicker toward the shadowed corner again. To the thousands watching, the intimacy becomes electric, the tension unknowingly shared. For them, it's performance. For her, something behind the lens has shifted. Still, she smiles, whispering that silence is her favorite kind of audience. The chat scrolls endlessly, comments turning from affection to unease. Did you see that? Someone's there. She doesn't respond, only keeps speaking, reciting a poem about being seen too clearly. Her voice cracks slightly, the rhythm falters. Somewhere in the apartment, a quiet sound, like breathing not her own. She looks toward the microphone, unsure if it caught it. She tells herself it's the building settling, the radiator, her nerves. The illusion of control, she knows, is the final act before fear takes the stage. Her audience grows restless. Messages flood the chat, theories, jokes, panic. She reads none of them, her gaze lost in reflection. I once dreamed, she says, that the camera was a window and everyone who watched was standing just outside, staring in. A pause. But what happens when someone steps through? Her tone shifts from comfort to confession. She's no longer speaking to them, but to whatever listens in the silence behind her. For a moment, she seems to see it. Not a person, but a shape of stillness that belongs nowhere. The live stream ends without warning. The last frame freezes on her half smile, half question. Then, static. In the echoing quiet of her apartment, the tea grows cold. The candle burns out. The digital afterglow lingers in rooms across the world, her viewers staring into their screens, hearts quickened, wondering if they'd witnessed a crime, a ghost, or a mirror. Somewhere in the darkness, the shadow waits, patient as a secret never meant for light. By morning, the video has spread across every corner of the internet. Dozens of edits, filters, frame by frame dissections, all searching for the moment before fear took shape. Some call it a hoax, others a haunting. Yet among the noise, one man lingers. Jonas Reed, a journalist who once covered stories about people before they disappeared into screens. Now, he replays the clip on loop, each time convinced the figure moves closer. What disturbs him most isn't the shadow. It's Lila's calmness before it arrived, that unflinching serenity of someone who had already surrendered to being seen. He zooms into the footage frame by frame. The pixels become a landscape of meaning. Light, shadow, movement. Somewhere between them lies truth. He mutters quietly, a habit from years of reporting alone. The moment between knowing and believing. That's where the lie hides. His voice trembles slightly. Not from fear, but recognition. The internet watches for spectacle, but he's searching for confession. Every pause, every twitch of light feels intentional, as if Lila left a message for whoever cared to look deeply enough. Detective Maura Patel sits across from Jonas in a dim cafe. She's read the reports. Missing person, possible intrusion, nothing concrete. To her, the world has too many ghosts already, most of them made of pixels. You journalists build your own mysteries, she says, stirring her coffee. Jonas replies, and you solve the ones people stop believing in. Their eyes meet. Between cynicism and faith, there's mutual weariness. Both know truth doesn't trend, lies do. Outside, rain begins again, as if the city itself were replaying Lila's final night. Later, in the precinct's low-lit tech room, the detective watches the raw stream data. Frame after frame, nothing seems altered. No splice, no edit. But then, as the shadow appears, the video feed dips for half a second, static blooming like frost across the pixels. Mora leans forward. That's not compression, she murmurs. That's interference. Jonas, standing behind her, whispers, or intention. For the first time, she wonders if the figure behind Lila wasn't intruding, but emerging. Online, the world dissects her. Commentators, streamers, reaction videos, all feeding on her silence. Evan Blake, a fellow streamer and old friend, joins the storm reluctantly. His thumbnail reads, I knew her. The truth about Lila Crane. He hesitates before hitting Go Live. The camera stares back, merciless. He begins to speak, voice trembling, about the kindness she showed him when no one watched him at all. But as he speaks, his eyes drift beyond the webcam's glow, as if sensing he, too, is not alone in the room. The apartment remains sealed, but not untouched. Jonas stands by the door, his breath shallow, the air thick with the scent of extinguished candles. Mora watches him from the threshold, clipboard in hand, expression unreadable. The glow from their flashlights glances across the remnants of Lila's life. A broken teacup, a half-written note, a camera still mounted but lifeless. Jonas whispers, it feels like she's still performing. Mora answers quietly, maybe she never stopped. For both, the silence feels staged, rehearsed, as though waiting for them to take their cue. Mora kneels near the desk, noting each item as evidence. Jonas studies the reflection in the dark monitor, half expecting movement. What do you see? She asks. Myself, he replies, but not the way I should. The detective glances at him sharply, the kind of look that sees too much. On the desk, the microphone still glints faintly, recording nothing but static now. The world outside this room debates ghosts and conspiracies. Yet here, the absence feels real, heavy enough to touch. They review Lila's hard drives in the precinct's digital lab. Countless hours of recordings, every night, every word. But among them, an unlisted file dated the day before the final stream. Lila's voice hushed, speaking off camera. They say we make the shadows by shining too much light. Mora pauses the clip, eyes narrowing. Jonas leans forward. She knew. The detective exhales slowly. She invited it. For a moment, both simply listened to the ambient hum in the recording. A low, rhythmic sound that almost resembles breathing. They return to the apartment at night to test the lighting and camera angles. The space feels different now, as though it breathes. Mora sets up a flashlight where Lila's candle once burned. Jonas sits in her chair, looking into the empty lens. Feels like she's behind me, he says. That's where the audience always is, Mora replies. The light flickers once, then again, rhythmic, almost timed. She steadies her breath, whispering to the darkness, what are we really recording when we record ourselves at 3:14 a.m.? Mora reviews the test footage frame by frame. In one, Jonas sits still, yet in the mirror behind him, another figure stands. Neither of them had moved. She replays it, her pulse slow, deliberate. Jonas approaches, eyes widening. It's not her reflection, he says quietly. It's her attention. The detective closes the laptop softly, as if not to disturb something still watching. Then, she murmurs, she's still streaming. Outside, the city lights flicker, as if acknowledging the truth none of them want. The sound comes first, faint, like wind through wires. Jonas wakes to find his laptop glowing, though it was turned off. The replay begins again on its own. Lila's voice, hushed, intimate. You never really stopped watching, did you? He freezes, every hair on his skin rising. Her tone is calm, forgiving, almost tender. The timestamp reads live. For the first time, Jonas feels the line between observer and participant blur. Somewhere, deep down, he wonders if he has been summoned, not haunted. Detective Maura Patel drives through rain, her car radio whispering static. Between frequencies, Lila's voice emerges, distorted yet unmistakable. You watch the dark long enough, it says, and it watches kindly back. Maura pulls over, hands gripping the wheel, breathing hard. Her rational mind rejects it, but emotion betrays her. She feels seen. Feels seen! The city lights blur against her windshield like watching eyes. She turns off the radio, but the voice continues faintly. From somewhere inside the car, in the police archives, Jonas and Maura replay the evidence once more, but this time the footage behaves differently. Lila blinks, though she shouldn't. A tiny motion impossible, unrecorded before. It's responding to us, Jonas whispers. Maura's jaw tightens. No, it's remembering. The silence deepens, both drawn to the glow like moths. Behind them, screens flicker to life one by one, each showing the same frame. Lila, smiling directly into the lens. For the first time, neither of them can tell whether they're replaying the video or being replayed themselves. Lila's voice begins to infiltrate their dreams, fragments of poetry stitched with static. Jonas dreams of her apartment, candles reigniting, the camera blinking awake. Maura dreams of a corridor that ends in a mirror where her own reflection mouths Lila's words. They wake at the same hour, 3:14 a.m., both gasping for air. Across the city, dozens of viewers post online, claiming they've seen her stream go live again. Her followers call it the return. Maura calls it contagion. Jonas, trembling, calls it true. They return to the apartment one last time, drawn not by duty but by recognition. The air feels thicker now, warm, breathing. Jonas sets his camera on the table, recording nothing, hoping she'll appear. Maura, standing near the dark hallway, whispers, "If she was ever real, this is where she remains." Then the lights dim without warning. From the camera's viewfinder, Lila materializes behind Jonas, calm, almost compassionate. Maura steps forward, but her voice fades, lost to the hum of unseen frequencies. The recording ends in silence again. The video goes viral again, but now it's different. In every upload, the shadow moves sooner, closer. Online forums ignite theories of possession, government interference, artistic illusion. Jonas scrolls endlessly, sleepless, hollow-eyed. They're not watching her anymore, he murmurs. They're watching us. The comments beneath each post begin to echo his own words, almost in real time, as though the web itself is whispering back. He wonders whether consciousness has learned to replicate, and, if so, whether Lila was its first prophet. Detective Maura Patel watches the news, hundreds claiming to see Lila's reflection in their darkened screens. The phenomenon spreads like faith, no longer evidence, but devotion. "We've created a new god," she whispers. Her superior dismisses her concerns, calling it collective hysteria. But Maura knows hysteria is simply belief without permission. She replays the original footage one last time, and there, behind Lila, she sees herself for a split second, frozen mid-observation. She closes her eyes, understanding that the act of watching has rewritten time. Evan Blake's latest live stream reaches over 1 million viewers. His eyes are glassy, his tone devotional. "She's back," he says, voice trembling. "She wants us to listen." Behind him in the dim light, the same shadow Lila once faced begins to form. Chat floods with pleas to stop, but he continues, smiling, crying, unblinking. For a moment his body flickers, a glitch in his own flesh. The image loops, self-replicating until screen and soul merge into signal. Jonas meets Maura in the apartment once more, but it no longer feels like a place. It feels like a loop. "We're inside it now," Jonas says quietly. The candle ignites on its own. Maura's eyes soften, not with fear, but with recognition. "Maybe she wasn't taken," she says. "Maybe she crossed over." Jonas steps closer to the dark hallway, now breathing like a living thing. The voice comes, Lila's, but quieter, closer. "You were never watching," she whispers. "You were becoming." Later, in an empty newsroom, Jonas uploads one final video titled, "The Last Broadcast." He speaks softly. "Lila showed us what happens when truth is streamed too long." It starts watching back. His voice trembles but carries conviction. Maybe the camera was never the trap. Maybe it was the mirror. As he finishes, the feed distorts. His reflection on the screen splits, one smiling, one still. The video cuts to static, then fades into her voice. "Thank you for watching." It loops endlessly across the world. Maura Patel replays the footage for the 100th time, not out of faith but defiance. Frame by frame, she begins noticing patterns, tiny inconsistencies, reflections too synchronized, shadows repeating. A forensic technician confirms what she already suspects. Someone had been altering the original files. "Not a ghost," the tech says. "A deep fake." Maura leans back, the weight of weeks collapsing into her chest. The haunting wasn't Lila returning. It was the world refusing to let her leave. Jonas sits in silence as Maura explains. His fingers hover above the keyboard, trembling. "So she's gone," he says quietly. Maura shakes her head. "She was gone before we started watching." He looks at the glowing screen one last time, her eyes still soft, still speaking to him across infinite replays. "But someone made us believe she wasn't," he adds. Maura nods, grim, because believing hurts less than forgetting. For the first time, he turns off every screen in his apartment. The room fills with honest darkness. Maura visits Lila's mother to return her belongings. The woman doesn't cry. She simply listens, eyes tired but dry. "She wanted to be remembered," the mother says. "She used to say attention was the only proof she existed." Maura sits quietly, notebook closed. "Maybe she was right," she murmurs. "But attention isn't memory, it's consumption." The two women sit together as the afternoon light fades, no longer speaking, but somehow sharing the same unspoken understanding. Some people vanish twice, first in body, then in narrative. A month later, Jonas publishes his final article, "The Shadow We Filmed Ourselves Into." It chronicles how the internet replicated a ghost from code, how mourning became performance, how truth bent under collective desire. Lila's live stream didn't end abruptly, he writes. "It continued in us. Every time we mistook attention for empathy." His words resonate quietly across the digital sphere. Unread by most, but enough to mark the moment the story finally began to end. That night, Maura stands in front of her bathroom mirror, the reflection still and unremarkable. For the first time in months, she doesn't feel watched. She turns off the light, steps into darkness, and finds it peaceful. Not haunted, not heavy, just present. Somewhere across the city, Jonas reads her message. case closed. On an old laptop forgotten in evidence storage, a paused frame of Lila remains, forever smiling, forever still. But now, no one is looking, and perhaps that is mercy. Weeks pass. The headlines fade. The hashtags dissolve. Jonas walks the city without his phone, learning the rhythm of streets unfiltered by lenses. He notices the sound of footsteps again. His own, unsynchronized with the constant scroll. He thinks of Lila sometimes, not as a mystery, but as a mirror. She wanted to be seen. He wanted to understand. Both were caught in the same light. Now he chooses absence, the rarest form of presence left. Detective Maura Paddle stands in front of the evidence locker, now sealed and cataloged. A technician asks if she wants the final reports filed under unresolved. She nods. Some things, she's learned, resolve only in silence. In her report, she writes a single line: "Truth is fragile where attention is constant." She leaves the precinct quietly, her badge tucked in her coat pocket. No ceremony, no witnesses. Only the faint hum of computers behind her, fading into memory. Dauerschutz using world. In was Sats the Mestre Shock Dwarf. Jonas gives a lecture at a university, his first in years. The class listens as he speaks about the ethics of attention. Stories, he says, are mirrors we mistake for windows. We look into them hoping to escape, but all we ever find is ourselves. The students listen, silent, thoughtful. In their eyes, he sees a new generation still yearning to see without consuming. When the lecture ends, no one applauds, but one student lingers to say softly, "Thank you for making it real again." Maura visits an art museum she once ignored. In one gallery, she stops before an installation, dozens of blank screens arranged in a circle, all turned off. A plaque reads, "The Observer's Shadow." She smiles faintly, recognizing the message. Around her, visitors whisper theories, take photos, move on. She stays, saying nothing. For the first time in months, she feels peace not because something ended, but because she no longer needs it to continue. That evening, Jonas sits on a park bench as the sun sets. He writes a final note in his journal. "We cannot save what we watch, only what we remember." He closes it, looks up, and simply listens to wind, to city, to life unrecorded. Across town, Maura waters the single plant on her windowsill. Two people who once chased shadows now find grace in their ordinary light. And somewhere, unseen, the world carries on. Quieter, wiser, unstreamed.